All right, today on the Button Up Podcast, we have Ben Arthur from EveryMan coming back for a year one update since his first appearance on the podcast. Ben, how are you today?
Very good, thanks, John. Feeling great to be here once more. Feeling in a different situation than last time, but that can only be a good thing. It's a pleasure to be back.
I know we also had a chance to meet up at Influentials to see each other in person, even though we had chatted online. It was great to meet you and see the whole crew.
Absolutely, yeah. I have to say you're even taller than I expected, John.
Yeah, I can do that. I can be deceiving to people. The camera subtracts 6 inches, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I really enjoyed the conference. Actually, I think it was a good opportunity to make real connections, not just digital connections.
Yeah, and actually, you alluded to it in the beginning. Is you're in a different place. So a year ago, we talked about how you had started your channel and you had great growth and all of that. And now, as of I think a month ago, you dove all in. So why don't you walk us through what's happened in the last year?
Absolutely. So I think that when I was on the podcast last year, I think I'm probably on about 10,000 subscribers, I think. So now I've just gone past the sort of 2 year mark on the channel and pushing sort of close to about 50,000 now. So the growth has been nice, although it's not come without incredible frustration, both at YouTube and I don't know, the content creation side in general. But good thing is now, yeah, I can focus all my efforts on it. I quit my job about a month ago now, so that's a relief for my own sanity, and it's proven a challenge and a different type of pressure in terms of income for certain.
So, what do you think? You have anything to attribute to either the growth or what was some of the stuff that you think was really behind that in the last year that allowed you to make that jump?
I think the increased focus on monetization, because although growth has been good, it's in all truth probably plateaued the last about 6, 8 months. Like I've been getting the same number of subscribers a day, even though I'm making more and more videos, which is confusing. I'm trying to make every video better, um, and and trying to become even better at SEO side of things. But it seems to YouTube seems to have decided that's how many subscribers I'm going to get a day, regardless of what I produce. But yeah. So as a result, I've had to focus on being more proactive in terms of monetizing the channel, because doing that and releasing 2 to 3 videos a week whilst retaining a full-time job, I think was about to make me go insane. So proactively emailing companies that had products that I was interested in featuring, responding more to emails because I honestly barely even had the time to properly go through the amount of emails I was getting bombarded with until recently. So I think that's enabled me to actually survive, just off stuff to do with YouTube. At least at the moment, I'm still attempting to branch out into other stuff. It's a different approach.
Well, I think you can see directly the more time and effort you spend on the channel, and even the more either sponsors or ads that come onto some YouTube channels, that increases the quality overall because you can see that they're either reinvesting or they're able to put more time and effort into it. I think you see that directly on yours. I remember finding your channel very early on and seeing the production quality, and you've definitely stepped it up. I think the most recent one that I caught was your Grand Frank video, and it looks like you have a nicer camera. It looks like you're really able to put some time into those, and so it seems like it's going well. Do you have this date in mind as you went to Influential, or was that like maybe a point where you really made a turn?
Um, In all truth, I did have it in mind on the approach to Menfluential. I went to Menfluential with number one the objective of being able to in some way recuperate the cost of the trip, because at the time I had very little expendable income, and flying to America and back certainly isn't the cheapest thing to be doing when you haven't got any money. So we did that, and it worked, and I got it back in terms of connections, in terms of collaborations and sponsorships and stuff, which was a good starting point. But I already knew. I said to myself, if I don't do this soon, I need to. My objective was to quit by May time, which I have managed to do, which is great. And it kind of fell into place quite nicely because I was considering quitting, and I was sort of 50-50 about whether I was quite ready to do it. And then the place I was working decided it was going to be shutting down, just like the place I'd worked before. Because retail, unless you're online, you're doomed now. So the shop I was working in said they were shut in the first week of May, and I said, right then, here's my notice. I'm leaving the company. They wanted to shove me off to another store somewhere else, but I thought it's time. I need to try and make something more of this. So that's been the case since.
I wonder, Ben, if you could talk a little bit about like the transition on a personal level or like on your like daily schedule level, because obviously the financial part is huge, you know, navigating that transition to full-time self-employment. But what about like when you wake up in the morning? Like what's different, what's better or worse now that you're full-time?
It's very different in a sense of self-motivation, because this is something that I honestly struggled with for quite a while, in terms of being quite, not lethargic in general, but lacking the kick. Like other people seem to be able to wake up and then fully get into work mode. That isn't me. I just have to force myself to be able to do stuff. So that's probably been the most difficult thing, is being able to effectively use the time. At the moment, I'm forcing myself to try and get up as early as possible, normally about 6 o'clock. No, sorry, just before about 6 in the morning, and then force myself to go for a run in the morning to try and wake myself up to then get ready for the day. I'm not a very, in all truth, I'm not a very organized person on a personal level, which isn't a very it's not a very good trait to have. I have to use as much software to keep myself organized as possible. So I'm extremely reliant on Google Calendar, on this other website called Trello, and the tasks feature on Google Calendar as well, actually, so that I know certain objectives that I have to at least complete that day, because otherwise I just won't get them done, because I just end up prattling about too much. So that's proved to be something different, but also I think the whole mindset, because at the moment a lot of my income comes from sponsors. Most of it comes from video sponsors. So I'm having to work in a certain way where I need these videos to be ready by a certain date. So I'm having to try and get as far ahead as possible with terms of videos, so that I'm not left worrying if something goes wrong. Like this morning, my camera decided to break. So luckily, I've already got a bit of a backlog of videos already ready to be published, which is nice. It reduces the stress for myself. But it's that knowledge that if I don't keep up with the sponsors, if I don't keep approaching people and getting them to sponsor my channel, I'm at risk of losing everything. I won't have any money, because it's all reliant on me. I'm not working for some company for like a few quid an hour where you know what you're going to get every single day. It's a very different mindset, and it's one that I've only been doing it a month properly, and I'm still having to get used to it. It's a different type of stress. It's not the stress of someone telling you about tons of things to do. It's the stress of, if I don't do this, I'll be on the streets.
Yeah, I feel you, man. And how is your relationship with sponsors changed? Because I know you've always been pretty transparent, pretty open about that, and you know you've never wanted to rely too heavily on sponsors, but obviously need to make a living. So has that changed at all since you've gone full time?
Not really, in all truth. I know at the moment that most of my income does come from sponsors, which I am looking to change. It's kind of been a circumstantial thing at the moment. I'm having to utilize sponsors probably a little bit more than I would want to, just because there's no alternative there at the moment. The way that my job's set, I can't just go into a job and then say, I'm going to quit 2 months down the line. So that kind of forces me to do sponsorships. Although I made like a pledge list to my subscribers a while back on the things that I would do with regards to sponsorships, because every time you make a sponsored video, as you probably know, people will rip it apart, call you a sellout, whatever. Like there'll be a whole bunch of them comments, no matter what. So to kind of not only reduce that, but to also try and keep things transparent with new viewers to the channel who have maybe had a sour taste of sponsorships from other channels, I've decided to make a pledge list, which it's in the description of all my videos now, where they can see. So one of the pledges, for instance, is that I try and remain to a ratio of like 50% sponsored to 50% unsponsored content, because I know that from certain YouTubers, I kind of feel like I'm being pitched to as a viewer every single video, and it makes me feel like they just want me from what's in my pocket, not for actually my attention or for the human side of things. So I've got that in place, which I think certainly helps with that, and because I could easily just go and get every video sponsored, but I don't know, it just wouldn't be true to myself, and I don't think it would make me super reliable. But I still reject tons of sponsors, and almost all sponsors for ones I accept, to the extent where at the moment I definitely work with more sponsors that I actively approach rather than those that bombard my email address from China, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, those emails can be kind of funny though, but yeah, definitely a little bit of waste of time. Now, last year when we talked, I think you had just launched a Patreon too. Are you still like what are some of the alternatives you mentioned that might be some of your long-term plays?
So, well, the Patreon page essentially it failed because I couldn't put enough time into it. I couldn't find a way to make it valuable, and I'm still struggling because this niche, I just struggle to know what I could actually offer that would be time effective for me, that would also be value for the audience to put in there. So I'm considering relaunching that at some stage in the next couple of months once I'm far enough ahead on regular videos so that I have a bit more time on my hands. But that could be an option. I am getting a lot more money now compared to last year from affiliate links, probably about 5 or 6 times as much, which is proving useful because with an affiliate linked video, I don't have to have a sponsor, and that is completely passive income once the video goes up. And you can't beat the Amazon affiliates in terms of the way that it works. The conversion's higher than buying from the website direct, so it's a no-brainer for that one. That's also something that I'm wanting to do more, but also I've got planned out a second channel that I'm going to be starting probably in about August time, which is nothing to do with men's style, nothing to do with menswear. It's to do with darts, believe it or not, which I don't know if you play darts in the US. I know it's not as popular as here, but that's something that I love as a hobby that I probably have a bit more passion for than men's style after making 300 videos. So, and I also think that the affiliate commission on that is going to be a lot better from what my research tells me than anything that I'll be doing on my current channel. So I'm thinking of doing that as a second option, as a second stream of income, and it still means I get to be creative and make videos and stuff, which is what I'm best at. I had to go at blogging. I'm not good enough at blogging. I find it too boring for me. So I need something more human, which is what I feel video is.
What's the game? Dots, DOTS?
No, darts, DARTS. Throwing darts, like
Oh.
I know it's becoming more popular in the US, but it's primarily a European sport. It's like what obese pub players play, apparently. So, but that's something I enjoy. That's something I think I can smash out the park, considering the competitor channels that I've seen out there. So I've got it all ready to go. Apart from I'm trying to organize good affiliate relations with the different darts manufacturers before I even start the channel. So it's an interesting one.
Actually, I just had a friend that flew to London for a darts competition. That's very interesting. So you're now executing on EveryMan at a high level, but then you're also planning a second spin-off to that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm going to continue with EveryMan for a bit, at least. I honestly don't know how it's going to go though. I'm becoming increasingly frustrated because the community around sort of men's style and stuff, it's so toxic. more toxic than almost any other that I'm a part of online, in terms of even like Facebook groups and stuff and YouTube comments. And I know they say you shouldn't let it get to you, but at times it just does when you wake up and you just got people slating you in the comments. Also, when you put out already 300 videos, there's only so much content you can cover without repeating yourself. And I feel like I'm almost having to be forced to start going over the same tips I've already given out before, and it's frustrating. Even if it's reaching 80-90% a new audience, it's still doesn't give me the same satisfaction as it once did. So I will certainly keep that going, because I'm obviously reliant on that for a long time. I have got plans for new video series I want to do, but I'm still not earning the kind of money that I would need to get the type of videos I want out there, because I can't afford professional video editors. I can't afford better equipment, really. Like, I'm having to replace equipment as it is as a result of equipment breaking. So I don't know, maybe this time next year, if I'm really rich, then that won't be an issue. I don't know.
I wonder what would you tell someone who's maybe thinking about getting into the industry right now, becoming a YouTuber in the men's style space after having done it for a while and having reached the milestone of going full time?
I'd say honestly, it seems to be more difficult than ever. Lots of the big channels have completely now dominated, even compared to about 2 years ago. Like, when I started the channel, it felt like I had more momentum than I do now, because I was able to go in with certain pieces of advice that people hadn't heard before. But now, even since then, in 2 years, these channels putting out 6 videos a week, it's enough to last a lifetime. So they've pretty much nailed down, in terms of the algorithm, every topic you can think of, and it's becoming very difficult to get your videos in recommended videos against these other videos from these big guys who got 1 million views a video. It's frustrating. It's still satisfying to do, don't get me wrong, and I still think that if you feel like you're quite good at presenting stuff, or business savvy in some way, shape, or form, then it's certainly worth a try. You just know you got to know what you want to get out of it at the end of the day. Because I don't know, it's a difficult time for this genre. I think there's other genres where you get a bit more. YouTube favors them more. I mean, I've even heard like Alpha M recently complaining about the YouTube algorithm as well, saying even his videos are doing worse. And if the biggest YouTuber in the genre's videos are doing significantly worse in search, then just got to question, is it worth starting?
So it sounds like some of the stuff you were talking about last year hasn't really changed with community and the comments and feedback?
Unfortunately not. I probably get proportionally on positive comments to negative comments. I maybe get a tiny bit more positive comments now than I did last time, but I don't know, these dudes on the internet, loads of people saying, "Oh, you're so ugly, you shouldn't be making style videos," because they've seen other YouTubers who look like models, and it's just like, if it frustrates me. I'm like, come on, are you saying that just because I wasn't born lucky, there's certain genes that I can't make a YouTube video? It's like, what? The trolls are never ending. The trolls are never ending, but that's why I'm hoping on starting up the second channel and getting some better feedback, because for like the few darts channels that are around, the comments are so much more positive as a whole. Like, it's so evident. You can just go on any video and have a look at the comments, even if the production quality is terrible, even if the information is lackluster, there's still all positive comments. So I'm like, I want a bit of that. I want some nice feedback. Makes me feel better.
That's some nice white space. So you're still pro. You might be pro YouTube, but you maybe not so hot on the menswear space.
Yes, possibly. I would say, even though I love the idea of helping guys who dress better, it seems to have become a bit more of a clickbait competition, in all truth.
That is very true. I kind of wonder, because I've seen the same thing with my channel and other channels where it's, you see your view counts, your subscriber counts are going up, your view counts are going down, and every now and then you get a spike, and it all just seems very random, and I think that, but at the same time, you'll see new channels coming out that just blow up. So I think that it's kind of like anything. It's, obviously it's not, there's no people behind this. It's an algorithm, and YouTube's tweaking it and trying to figure it out. So I think it's still very possible to grow a channel, but it's also very frustrating when you put out, I'll put out some videos that I think it's like my best work yet, and it doesn't get any views. So it is very frustrating. And on top of that, the negativity. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart, especially these days.
You have to have the thickest skin. You have to have like snake skin. Do we have to survive this and shed the skin every once in a while? But the ultimate formula, if you want to succeed, if anyone listening to this on, if you want to start a YouTube channel, what you need to be is naturally really attractive. You have to have a team of people like making your thumbnails and editing your videos, upload every single day, and the algorithm will love you, and then you'll be at 1 million subscribers in no time, regardless of the information that's in the video.
Well, that would definitely do the trick.
That's how to grow. That's not necessarily how to make quality content that's actually valuable to people. But if people are purely wanting the best advice on how to actually get to 1 million subscribers straight away, then that's how to do it.
Well, I wonder with your new channel about darts, will you do anything fundamentally differently, like in terms of the production or the format, or titles, thumbnails? Will you do anything differently?
Well, I don't know if I'll need to do a significant amount sort of differently as the moment, because there's no competition like compared to this genre. The searches will be lower, but I'm hoping to be able to grab a much bigger portion of the pie, because the dudes that are sort of doing that at the moment, the production quality is really low. The thumbnails are terrible. I think they're nice enough people, but it's nothing. They wouldn't stand a chance if they tried to enter this space, for instance, that they'd be looking to get 100 subscribers in a whole year. So I don't know if I'll need to do much difference. There'll just be a lot more reliance on affiliate links as sponsorships, because I think that it will be unlikely to obtain decent video sponsors in that space, because the brands aren't used to it. Like these guys, people send them stuff and they'll happily give them free advertising, which is something I'm not pleased to do. So it'll be a different approach in regards to the monetization, but for the rest of it, it'll have to remain the same for a while. My big plan, in all truth, with the whole of this sort of YouTube online stuff is I really need to get my girlfriend off work, because she's in a terrible job at the moment that's just incredibly stressful for her, which is one thing. But also I need the extra hands on deck. Like I need someone who's able to take photos of me for Instagram, or take videos of me for Instagram, because I'm trying to start that, but it's proven almost impossible to do. I don't want to have to randomly find the perfect place to take a photo, take the tripod with me, set it on timer, run into position, take a really awkward photo. It's just, I need a second pair of hands, and for all the emails from 96,000 Chinese companies that email me.
Yeah, I hear you. It'd be so nice to have a full-time kind of business partner or assistant, especially someone who is handy with cameras and the production and stuff like that. I know John and I have started experimenting with photographers, just freelance photographers, which I've found has been immensely helpful and totally worth every penny so far.
Now, I suppose that for your Instagram is this, I'm presuming, or
it is. Well, it's for both, since because I got the website, Instagram, and YouTube, so I find that if I can do a photo shoot, those pictures will be useful almost everywhere. So it's Instagram material for a week or 2 weeks. I can use them in a video and just kind of use the still images for examples of what I'm talking about, and then I'll write an article using the images too. So it's just super useful to have some fresh photos coming in every couple weeks.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean that's the sort of effect I want, really. It's just I can't afford to really do that sort of thing, or to employ anyone in any capacity, because I won't be able to live. I'd have to move back in with my parents. I want to be able to have some freedom, so that's where a lot of my money unfortunately goes.
Yeah, like how far are you from London?
In terms of cost, or in terms of money? Oh, in terms of miles, sorry.
Well, like travel time.
Travel time, probably about, if I was driving, it would probably take about 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Oh, okay, so you couldn't
But I
really
don't have a
tap
car.
into like the London scene.
Not really, no. It wouldn't be. Well, I don't have a car, so I'd have to take public transport, which takes probably a little bit longer from where I live. So I can't even really get to that place. Plus, my girlfriend would never want to relocate there because her family are from further north than I am. So it'd be even further to London, which I know maybe Manchester might be an option because that's a lot nearer to where I live, and that's like second or third biggest city. So that could be of some use to me at some point. But also then you got the increased rent, which I am already spending a lot on here. So it's difficult decisions. Which these are the decisions that if you're in a bog standard job until you're like a pensioner, that you just don't ever come across. You don't ever have to think of these. So it's also tricky because I've got no one apart from obviously guys like you and that do stuff similar. There's no one in my day-to-day life that has a clue about anything like this. Like every single person I know, they just work a random job, and it makes it difficult for people to relate to me or to. I've got no one to ask questions to really. So it's an unusual lifestyle.
I think that is what sets us apart from, and even people listening to this podcast, is that they have an interest in sort of the business side of this stuff, and there is a little bit of a network for it, and that's what you saw I'm influential. So maybe we could chat more on that, because I mean I feel the same way. Anybody else in my life works other jobs and things, and that's why I find some of the times that we talk to you guys and why I like talking about the podcast so much is it is very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I mean, that's also a message I want to be able to spread to young people, because I know that when I finished university, I graduated probably about 3 years ago with a degree in teaching, but I couldn't think of anything worse. And the problem is, loads of people are coming out of university sick of the idea of going into the profession that they've got this massive qualification in that they've pounded a load of money into and loads of time invested in, and they don't know what to do with themselves, and then they just end up working blooming news agents for the next 5 years or 10 years or something, and it's depressing to see because these young people don't think there's any other option. They've been conditioned to believe that they always have to work for someone else, or that being a doctor is the best job, even though doctors work 5-6 days a week, which I think is crap. So I'm personally, I'm all about entrepreneurship in some way, shape, or form. And I definitely I'm actually going to make an attempt to see if I can speak at a couple of universities about it, because although they'll probably hate it because they want people to go into blooming employment so they can show on the statistics the amount of people that have graduated that have got a job. But for those people who are interested in something a bit different, who don't just want to be a slave to society.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, we've been doing something since the last time you came on the show, a series of rapid fire questions that we haven't told you about and that you have had no time to prepare for.
Oh goodness, is this going to be safe listening? I hope the answers aren't going to be too bad.
Well, depending on what you say, we might have to mark this one explicit.
Yeah, we know you're a fan of the swears over there.
Unfortunately, yes. Which is actually, before we run into these rapid fire questions, I'm making a transition onto my channel soon as well, because I feel, because of all the stupid expectations, because of the demonetization on YouTube and all this, people are seemingly expected to be so perfectly polite online, to never say anything even potentially offensive to any person, never say anything that could be ever considered as rude, and it's just toning down stuff. And I feel like my channel's been a bit too much like that recently, and I think that may be why I've had this sort of plateau, because I'm too concerned about the YouTube monetization and stuff like that, even though it makes up barely any of my income. So I've decided, as of probably in about 6 videos time, because that's how many I've got in advance at the moment, I'm just gonna try and be more me on the on the videos and hope they don't get taken down.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, okay, then let's bring on the questions.
All right, here we go. Oxfords or brogues?
Brogues.
Lifting or cardio?
Cardio.
Loafers or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Morning shower or evening shower?
Morning shower.
Jeans, chinos, or trousers?
Jeans.
All right. Favorite James Bond actor, if you have one?
Probably Sean Connery, probably.
All right. And then last one, if you had to pick one, navy or charcoal for a suit?
Navy.
Wow, I think that was some of the most decisive answers we've ever had.
Good. I am not.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad.
All without any swear words.
Yeah, absolutely no swear words, surprisingly. So it's safe listening, everyone. Your kids can listen to this.
Nice. Well, do we have a timeline for your second channel launch, or anything else that we should be looking out for?
My objective is I'm going to start this sometime in August, possibly early August, and I want to be at 25,000 subscribers in the first year. That's the plan, and it's doable.
Ooh.
It's well doable. So, that's my objective with that. In the long run, I have no idea. I just know that I've got some exciting series that I want to be able to be working on for later this year. It's literally just a matter of financing the series. So if I've got that together, then hopefully I'll make some content that's a bit different from some of the other bog standard channels, because I don't want my channel to evolve into something that's just a clone of the big channels. So I just want to be more myself and see what people think.
All right, so that's Ben at the Everyman. You can see his swears at Everyman World, the site and the YouTube channel, and future announcer at the World Darts competition, because
Maybe
that could be your trajectory. That's a great goal,
Well,
25K.
You see, I'd actually considered that in the back of my mind. I'd considered, if I make like much better videos than what these other people are making, I'll just try and get on TV.
Yeah, that's what YouTubers in America get big. They move to LA and they try to be movie stars. So you can get big and then move to London as an announcer for the darts competitions.
I don't actually want to be famous. I just want enough money to be able to not be super worried about money. That's the plan. But thanks for having me anyway, gents. It's been another fun one.
Absolutely, and we'll check you out, and maybe we'll check in with you next year at 25K.
Sweet. Oh, thanks. I'll I'll be sure to give you a fun update if I don't see you beforehand, which I probably will.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for listening to the Buttoned Up Podcast, a collaboration between John Shanahan of The Cavalier and Brock McGough of Modest Man, and we will see you next week.